Eric Davis joins me. I'm Susie Schuster, in for my husband, Rich Eisen, who's making his way back from Carolina. And we watched that game last night, Eric. And number one, let's talk first of all about Luke Kuechly. I think the most important thing coming off this game is watching that young linebacker coming off the field in tears. And you've been hit. What did you see in the look on his face?
Well, the first thing when you take a hit with Luke, I think the number one thing I saw in his face is someone that just wants to be on the field. Just the emotion of not being able to play. He never wants to come off the field. He never wants to not be involved. He never wants to not be there. And I think that's a major part of all of it for him. Because you're looking at this right now, dazed and confused, but I think the main part of it is just not being able to play. I think that right there is affecting him more than anything else.
I feel like it's got to be something more than a concussion, though. He took it on the chin.
Yeah.
The chin is the quickest place to affect the rest of the head. I'm a concussion person from way back in the real sports days. I'm also wondering if he just got the wind knocked out of him. Are we looking at a potential Gronk situation where maybe there's an injury in his chest, or was he just frightened?
All of those things could be. That could, I can't,
right.
We can't do anything but speculate on what's happening. But the concern, I've been in that situation to where I've been concussed. You don't even know what's going on, and you're really doing what people are telling you to do. And I've seen television copies afterwards where they're telling me, and I can remember one time in Dallas. I remember laying on the cart. I remember going in to tackle Emmett, and then the next thing I know, someone was telling me to put my thumb up, and I'm laying there, and I'm like, what? And they're like, just put your thumb up in there, and I'm putting my thumb up. Television copy. Eric Davis is signaling to everyone he's okay. I had no idea had no idea where I was. That could be one of these situations to where he is trying to figure out what's going on, and now the reality is like, okay, I can't play. And I'm telling, in that moment, that's the hardest part, where they're just telling you can't play, that there's something could be wrong. Mm-hmm. You do start to worry.
He looked terrified. He really looked like a terrified kid out there.
He looked sad.
Yeah.
He didn't look terrified. He just looked sad to me. That's all.
We have a picture of Thomas Davis. Let's put it up on the screen. We can with Luke Kuechly here with a thumbs up. And this is an hour ago, and I want to explain to all of our radio audience, it looks like Luke Kuechly is perfectly fine. And that's a surprise for me because this is the first time I've seen it, and I'm actually quite thrilled. Both as a fan and as a parent, I'm happy to see this kid looking okay because, again, my familiarity is from a college level, from covering these kids when they're kids. But it was a moment of trepidation last night.
No, agreed. But you see right there, and you see the smile on his face. He's standing there. He's giving a thumbs up. And as I said before, in that moment when you just don't know if you are. It depends on the level of the concussion. you could completely not even know what's going on, and then it all starts to come back to you, and you're feeling fine. Some of it may never come back, but he seems in that picture. He seems to be okay. So. I just think it was he was just a little bit sad about not being able to play the game and somewhat worried about, the what if.
Eric Davis, Susie Schuster on the Rich Eisen Show. What's up with Carolina? I mean, Ron Rivera said coming in, we got to finish games. Third quarter again, they let the Saints come right back in.
Their defense is not as good.
Right.
I mean, they have not been. Carolina has never replaced Greg Hardy. Of all the craziness and the nonsense that he does on the football field, he was a major part of what they did. They moved on from that, completely understand it, but they didn't replace his effort on the field. They didn't replace his production on the field. Josh Norman, they didn't want to play Josh Norman. They didn't want to deal with that. They moved on from it. They haven't replaced the production on the field. That's the issue. Defensively, they're not giving the ball back to the offense at the rate they were giving the ball back to them before. That offense, led the league last year in points. They were up there over 30 points a game. They're not doing that right now. And it's not that the offense still can't produce and they still can't move the ball and move the chains. They're not getting as many short fields. They're not getting the turnovers. They're not getting the touchdown returns by their defense. So that's affecting the way that they have to play. It's affecting the scores. It's affecting the wins. That defense is not a shutdown, beat you up you get nothing. You get nothing, and you like it. That's what the defense used to be. They're not that defense anymore.
It's just so crazy. They're just so closely removed from the Super Bowl, and we're now wondering if they're even making the playoffs.
Well, to go to the Super Bowl, you have to have what they had last year. Your stars have to be stars, okay? Your role players have to know their role. They have to accept their role. They have to take pride in it. And then you have to have some guys have career years, okay? Ted Ginn had a career year. Cam is a star. He was a star. Kuechly, those guys. I mean, the stars on that team played to that level. So now you have to get all of that recreated. It's a very difficult thing to do.
Conversely, the Saints, what's happening with them? Because special teams just keeps letting them down.
Well, the Saints are still trying to build their defense. They're still trying to get that. Your special teams are normally your defensive players. You still have guys on there trying to figure out their roles. From an offensive standpoint, Drew Brees doesn't have that guy. He's spreading the ball around. He's still Drew Brees, but who's the guy when you have to have it? He still doesn't have that Jimmy Graham. He doesn't have that Marcus Colston.
Another guy who got dinged up. I mean, injury central.
Yeah. So I mean, he doesn't have that main guy that he can consistently count on when they need to get it. There are a lot of peripheral guys that are good players that can make plays for them, but he doesn't have that great player on the offense. And the defense is that's a work in progress. We've been there for years.
Yeah, there's been a lot of work in progress, if you know what I mean, down there. We're going to look ahead at the upcoming weekend. Let's take a call quickly. Darren in Seattle, what do you got for me?
Well, talked about the Kuechly hit. That you had a little bit right when you said about the chin thing. When I was watching the hit, the second they showed him crying, I knew exactly what happened. He got a concussion because the helmet, Hightower's helmet, caught the bottom of his face mask, and I don't know if it grazed the bottom of his chin or not. But then also snapping his neck, it's like the stinger effect. I don't know if you've heard of stingers,
Sure.
Football stingers. And I think the combination can hit the chin and possibly a stinger, and that causes you to go delirious like that, or delirious, I don't know if that's the right word, but not realize what's going on around you, which causes the crying and stuff like that. You don't know what's going on for a minute. And it affects your emotions and stuff when that happens.
100% right. Thanks for the call, Darren. In boxing, they'll tell you right away, the first thing you look for is an undercut. Anything to the chin, because that, it is, Eric Davis, you know how that reacts, and it shakes your brain around a little bit.
Yeah. But, it's rare that you get hit in the chin as a football player because of, your headgear. It's rare. Most of the time, every concussion that I've ever gotten as a player and every one that I've really seen guys where they're really bad, then it's normally a hit to the side of the head that you don't see coming. Because it's so rare to get hit in the chin. But yeah, that's a major part of it. And like I said, I think the crying, I really believe the crying was for all of a sudden you come to, and it's happened, and you don't know where you are, and he's being told he's out. You're out of this game. It's done. You're not playing, and it's just a frustration of that because you feel like you're okay. You think you're all right, but you don't realize that you've just spent the last 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, 5 minutes laying on the ground on your back out. You don't know it.
No, and it's ugly. Let's take a quick 60-second break. A lot more with Eric Davis when we come back. This is The Rich Eisen Show. When I woke up at 5:25 this morning, I woke up with a MyPillow. If you got trouble sleeping, if it's just time to replace an old pillow, check out MyPillow. I did. I have the worst back in the world from show jumping, horseback riding, skiing, a lot of injuries, terrible neck issues, and I was bitching and moaning to Rich, which you can see on I just did, right? He came home with a MyPillow. I'm not joking, like acupuncture,
Saved everything?
massage. Yeah.
Fixed it all?
Crazy.
I'm about to do that. My back hurts.
I got to tell you something.
Okay.
You got to get a MyPillow.
Okay.
And I know it sounds insane. You just put it back in the dryer when it feels too flat after a while. I'm kind of obsessed with the MyPillow. Can you tell? I got issues.
I wouldn't call it issues.
Little things make me happy. And what makes me happy is MyPillow.com. Get their custom fit and score. Their best offer yet. The 4-pack special, 2 pillows for the price of 1, plus 2 extra Go Anywhere pillows for free. Click on the radio listener special link on MyPillow.com. Use the promo code RICH. That's RICH. Or call MyPillow at 800-613-5974. 800-613-5974. Susie Schuster in for Rich Eisen, and Eric Davis joins me to talk a little bit more about MyPillow. Just kidding. I think we're done with MyPillow, right? I don't know if Jared Goff uses a MyPillow, but he might want to. Were you at the groundbreaking ceremony for the new stadium?
I was not at the groundbreaking ceremony. No, I was not.
You know, it's interesting because
Looking forward to it, though.
I know it's going to be fancy.
Yeah.
And that's a kid who's going to be excited to hit the field. When a player comes out, and there have been 6, as we know, 6 rookie quarterbacks from the 2016 draft who've been playing this year. And Dak Prescott obviously getting most of the attention, but people are waiting for Jared Goff. It's a statement for Jeff Fisher to bring him out. How ready is this kid?
Well, we're about to find out. I don't know if he's ready, but he has to play. It just reached that point. They're not scoring.
He just has to, right?
Well, yes. I completely reversed Phil's because earlier, a few weeks ago, I was saying that I thought that Dak Prescott should come off the field, Tony Romo should come on, and that Jared Goff shouldn't go on the field, and that Case Keenum should stay on. And I completely reversed those stances because Dak Prescott has shown that even through bad times that he can still run the offense. No, it is not as diverse as it would be if Tony Romo was there, but he's earned the right to be there. Mm-hmm. It doesn't, and a bad play, a bad game, a bad series doesn't mean he should come off the field. So he's their quarterback. That's obvious. He's going to be the quarterback next year anyway. He's there. Case Keenum wasn't drafted to be. He wasn't drafted to be a starter. Mm-hmm. He's a backup, mm-hmm. and that might sound harsh, but his talent level is backup talent level. And the only way you have all your starting receivers, you have your starting running back, your starting offensive lineman, you have everyone on there. If you're Jeff Fisher, the only way you can possibly get more out of an offense that's not scoring is to upgrade the one position that you don't have your starter at, and that's the quarterback. So whether or not he's ready is irrelevant, because if I'm losing with you, I may as well try to win without you. And that's what happened to Case Keenum. So now, Jeff Fisher said before the first game of the season, he was happy where Jared Goff was going into week 1, and that was inactive. It's hard to believe that you're happy with the guy being inactive week 1, and now here at this point in the season, you're saying he's ready. Mm-hmm. I think it's a case of, as I just said, I'm losing with the other guy, I may as well try and win with this guy. It's going to be rough, but talent-wise, he should be better. They're going to try to come in and do the same things. So let's just see. A lot of these other quarterbacks, a lot of the other rookie quarterbacks, they've been able to scale things to a point to utilize their skill sets. It's a question of, them doing that. Boris, the offensive coordinator there, doing the same things for the guy who's the number 1 pick of the draft. So ready or not,
here he comes.
It's time. Yeah.
Eric Davis, Susie Schuster in for Rich Eisen on The Rich Eisen Show. I'm curious about the level of pressure on Jeff Fisher because LA likes a front runner. And I know it's new and it's fancy and there's a stadium coming, but how much pressure does Fisher feel right now?
There's always pressure for every player, for every coach.
But is he wondering how secure his job is?
It's the same pressure he's always at. This is a league about winning. I think that Fish is okay. Why? Because you have this interim period between coming to LA, the excitement of everyone. I mean, people say what you want to say. I mean, there are 80,000 people at the games. Mm-hmm. So, there are stadiums that don't hold 80,000 people. I mean, so it's packed.
Oh, LA likes a new team.
Yes.
LA likes a new T-shirt.
And that being said, now we also know LA likes winners.
Yep.
But right now, you have this interim period between the Coliseum and the shiny new fancy stadium, as you said. Mm-hmm. So I think Jeff is safe. And you also have the luxury of now the quarterback. Jeff has never really had that. Sam Bradford, they drafted, so it didn't work out there. So now you have Goff. So you get to finish out this year, and all he has to do is show progression. Mm-hmm. If he's playing better, if the offense starts to move, if he starts to grow, he's still a rookie, and that right there in itself, I think, keeps him safe. But I don't think there's any added pressure.
Right.
Eric, you cover this team though for local radio, and one of their greatest players in franchise history has done nothing but bash the offensive coaching staff and Chris Wenke and Eric Dickerson. What is the sentiment in the building at what he's said, and is Wenke's job safe? Is Rob Boris's job safe, the play caller?
Well, this is looking at that. I haven't sat down and talked to those guys, but this is the thing about you have a number one overall draft pick. Your quarterback coach has to help him. The offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach have to help Jared Goff progress. He has to lift his skill set. He has to continue to grow. And if those things don't happen, they're going to have someone else in. And that's the main thing. Chris Winkie, number one. You look at that. He has to get the quarterback playing at a certain level. You saw what he did with Case Keenum. They got him to a certain level. I think he may have peaked out. Now you have to look at Jared Goff. The ceiling should be higher. He's the number one overall pick. The number one overall pick is supposed to eventually put you in position. The number one overall pick at the quarterback position is supposed to put you in positions to fight for multiple championships. Mm-hmm. Multiple championships. You should be in that hunt. So Winkie has to start to show that this player can grow and that he can help this player grow to that type of potential. If not, he's going to be gone. And if the offense doesn't start getting the ball in the offense, Boris is going to be gone, because if those things don't happen, Jeff Fisher is going to be gone. But Jeff is a loyal guy, so he's not going to. That's one. I think that's part of the reason why Jeff survives. He's extremely loyal to his players, to his coaching staff, and he's going to give them every chance, and he's going to take the heat until he can't take it any longer.
And they have a lot of young draft kids who are not quite mature enough to be what they want to be. So we'll see that develop. Cardinals, Vikings, Packers, Redskins. What's the game that intrigues you over the weekend?
You mentioned those two. I also like Dallas, Baltimore.
Right.
That's an interesting game to me. Looking at what could potentially happen there. Dallas is playing really, really good football. We all know that. But this is the way they play and the way Baltimore likes to play. That could be one of those ugly ball games that could come down to the bounce of the ball. So I'm really interested in that one. That's my number one.
All right. The drama coming out of Dallas this week. What's your reaction to how Tony Romo handled himself? Is there any drama? I think he was just classy.
That was no drama to me. It was done, and everyone's saying Tony handled this great, and Tony didn't do anything. Tony was told this is what's happening, and Tony did. He had a press conference. Everyone keeps saying I'm a Dallas hater and all this. No, I'm not. I don't have a dog in the fight. Mm-hmm. I just don't. That's just how it is. I just analyze what I see. Tony didn't walk into the office and say, you know what, guys, I think the best thing for the team is for Dak to play. Mm-hmm. No, Tony was told you're backing up. It's that simple. It really is that simple. If Tony had walked into that office and they said, Tony, you're going to start, Dak would have had to sit down and deal with it. That's just the way it is. Tony was given his opportunity. Now Dak has been given his opportunity. Tony decided to come in and go through, and say all of those things and put out that press statement. That's great. I know Tony is classy. I know Tony is not going to be a locker room distraction. He is not going to be one of those type players that's not going to help Dak out. That's not who he is. So all of that I get. But the notion that Tony, went in and this is the best move for the team. No. Tony wants to play. Tony is not happy. He wants to be on the field. And the first chance he gets to be on the field, he's going to go back out there in that huddle and be like, okay, this is my gig and I'm not coming off. That's who he is. In
10 seconds, tell me why I am dead wrong about Lamar Jackson, the Louisville quarterback, still in the running for the Heisman. Why am I wrong?
You look at all the film that is out there for every college player this year, he's the best college player. It's that simple. The Heisman is supposed to go to the best college player. He's had the best season.
I hear you. I think he's in trouble, but that's just me, and I don't have a vote. Eric Davis, thanks so much for coming on today. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
I know why Rich loves having you around. You can ask you anything. I like that.
Well, I told you we can talk about the Housewives next time.
I don't watch The Real Housewives.
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
It's brutal.
I'm a reality television guy.
What?
I do.
I
even watch, Dating Kelsey. I'm
my God,
I'm a reality TV guy.
Catching Kelsey, nice.
The best game to play in Los Angeles is 20 or 90, because you can't tell how old a woman is a lot of the time from behind. See, we play a game. Is she 20 or 90? Extensions, fillers. It's a great game to play. You try that at home with your kids.
I can tell the difference between 20
family
and 90.
Game. Oh, it's tough. You go sit on Bedford and Camden. You play 20 or 90.
You know what?
You get a margarita.
I've lived here long enough to know the difference.
I'm telling you, it's downright scary.
But
Eric,
it's a good game.
thanks. I really appreciate it. You can play that game with Rich and me anytime you want. Eric Davis, Susie Schuster on The Rich Eisen Show.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.